Hello and welcome to another episode of Talk Dead to Me, the only Walking Dead podcast with the guts to start at season 10. I'm your humble host, Johnny Odell, the social media manager for The Walking Dead. With me, as always, are my co-hosts, Alexander August and Woody Tondorf. Now, just letting you know, we will be talking about spoilers for this week's episode of The Walking Dead. Obviously, might even have some comic spoilers, might even have some Firefly spoilers. I don't know.
I'm a leaf on the wind.
Exactly. So, without further ado, it was a big and sad and shocking episode of The Walking Dead. Woody, calm our listeners down a little bit. Tell them what they can expect from this episode.
It's very sad, Johnny, and I don't have any calming words for you folks at home. I'm sorry. Just a couple big F's in the chat this episode. So we're going to be talking about that death, a couple Guardians of the Galaxy comparisons, Carol really leaning into some 24 tropes. We're going to play some Dunked On. We're going to listen to your voicemails, and we're going to have a very special guest. I can't wait. I love all her React videos. Katie O'Shaughnessy. Woo! This is going to be great. I say it every week, but this is a great show, guys. This one, way better than all the previous ones. You won't even remember them.
I'm excited. A little repping of the UK up in here. Or is she from? She's from Ireland or Northern Ireland?
She's in Ireland, I believe.
Okay, repping Ireland up in here. Very exciting. And folks, thank you so much. We are so delighted that you keep coming back and tuning in every single week. It is so rewarding. So thank you. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. Please rate us. Please review us. Pause positively. Preferably. That would be great. We really appreciate it. Helps with our visibility, our discoverability, and tell your friends.
All right, now let's get into the episode. We are going to save the juicy Sadiq stuff for the end.
Why? What happens to Sadiq?
Oh, God, Woody.
I looked at my phone.
It's fine. You'll figure it out. Alexander, why don't you start us off? Carol had some great, nice, juicy 24 moments this episode. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, Carol remains one of my favorite characters. This episode was no different. Essentially, Carol drags the unnamed Whisper prisoner back to Alexandria, pretty much just doing exactly as she pleases. Gary, as we'll call him, gets thrown into Negan's old cell.
I love it. We're calling him Gary for the rest of the podcast.
He doesn't have a name. He wasn't given the name in the credits, and we think that James Parks, great actor, you've seen him in a bunch of Quentin Tarantino stuff, deserves a little more respect. So his name is going to be Gary.
That's canon. He's the greatest Gary to ever Gary.
Confirmed.
So Carol decides immediately her plan is to walk in and just torture the shit out of him. And Gabe kind of runs out and she's like, listen, we have a prisoner. This is what we're doing. Why are you questioning me? Carol was kind of, I don't know, behind the barn door when they decided they were going to have like a legal government in Alexandria and like a council and stuff. And I'm really enjoying her just openly flouting all of their rules.
Yeah, I like that Father Gabriel finally just sort of called Carol on her shit. I mean, Daryl's kind of been secretly doing it, and everyone's kind of been awkward to say something because Carol's so integral to their community, but they've been really, tiptoeing around her. But Gabriel's like, what the fuck, guys? Like, Carol, we let you out for like 2 minutes. You guys said we were getting strawberries. And I was looking forward to those strawberries, and now, instead of strawberries, we have Gary. I don't know his name, but I'm assuming it's Gary. And now Gary's here?
Yeah, and Carol does her whole like Jack Bauer 24 thing, being like, I don't answer to you or the president or anybody. I'm just going to. He bleeds until he answers was the exact line that she gave, and I was like, we're on board.
Yeah, and like no one. Here's the thing: Daryl backs her up, and Gabriel is like, well, I'm gonna tend to his wounds first, and it's great and anemic and funny, and so she does speak to Lydia a little bit after she just pokes this guy in his wound and he doesn't break. So Lydia advises Carol, listen, if you start showing people all the nice things that you have in Alexandria, the comparative luxury that you live in to my like dirt and trash people, maybe that she's like an idea will infect them, an idea will go further. And she's not wrong. She's just wrong when it comes to Gary. Carol tries to tempt him with a delicious looking peanut butter and fresh marmalade, which, I mean, to be honest, that sandwich in today's world of like mass manufactured foods, I bet it was really tasty.
Oh, that's farm to table goodness. I like that.
Absolutely.
Like she offered 8 different kinds of spread. She's like, we have honey, we have butter, we have jam, and the guy goes, I'll have all of it.
Yeah.
Which, like, if I was anybody there, I would kind of be like, you're mixing a lot of flavors. I'm not sure if that's exactly what I would do, but yeah, sure, go ahead.
And I don't think he was acting when he took that first bite. He's like, okay, I know I'm going to spit this in her face, but I'm going to savor every moment of this. It's so good. Oh, God. Okay, here it comes. All right, time to spit it in her face. 3, 2, 1.
And so Carol is like, well, you just spit food in my face if you met me. So she grabs Lydia, takes Lydia to the woods, basically in an effort to show what she's heard she's heard through Gary that Lydia is dead, essentially, that Alpha's told everyone that she's killed her. But by the time Carol can bring Lydia to Gary to show him and then perhaps release him back into the wild to spread the good news, someone accidentally gave Gary a dose of hemlock.
Who could it be?
Well, Dante. It was Dante, guys, but Sadiq is there, and Sadiq is, traditionally going out of his mind as he has been for most of the season. So Dante is able to very easily convince him, well, you packed the bags, Sadiq.
Sadiq's like, shit, I did.
Sort
I'd like
of.
to say that shout out to Gary, R.I.P., who kept his cool when he saw Dante. He wasn't like, hey, Dante, what's going on, man? What's up, my dude?
Because I don't believe that Alpha's the kind of leader to share strategy plans. So I don't know that everyone knew Dante was going off on this big mission.
Yeah, but once he saw the doctor coat and his beard a little bit more kept and stuff, he's probably like, oh God, okay, all right, okay, doctor. What was it, Dante? Was it? So shout out to him. I was actually hoping we were gonna get a few more Gary scenes, and
he was a good actor. I was actually as a lot of some guest actors that we've had on The Walking Dead, he was engaging beyond the fact we didn't know anything about him, but that he was a prisoner.
Yeah, for a one and done, hardly a half and done character. He really put the work in.
Yeah, but speaking of which, Lydia and Carol have some wonderful scenes where I like the fact that Carol is not so swallowed up in her bitterness that she actually can see. We sort of see what we saw in Carol in the season finale of last year when they're in the blizzard together. She has affection and kind of an empathy for Lydia. Whether or not that's going to end up being good for Lydia in the long run is up for debate. She does take Lydia on horseback to have her help spread this idea, which she basically takes a horse to the Whisperer border where apparently Aaron is guarding it along with Gamma. So they just hang out all day, which is kind of funny.
It is a strange kind of North Korea, South Korea, both guard posts staring at each other over 30 yards being like, do we break dance?
DMZ.
Yeah, do you want a piece of gum? So Lydia realizes that Carol has essentially used her for bait, and she is very angry. She confronts Carol, and she points out, you're just like my mom. It's just, you're just doing different things. You're still as manipulative. And Carol, from what it seems, really does look like she takes that to heart. And she also doesn't seem to understand why Lydia is angry at first.
I do wonder about the emotional state of Carol in that moment that when Lydia, jets off being like, you're just using me, how much of Carol's oh, I've really goofed here. How much of that is her actually having an emotional, I'm not the same person that I was before, I need to take a step back? Or how much of that is shit, the plan didn't work out exactly the way that I wanted to. Why did that happen? Oh, I'm approaching this slightly wrong. Maybe more upfront violence this time. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious to know if we're going to see more of. Yeah, I'm kind of curious to know how far gone Carol is.
So would you talk to us about, we covered it a little bit, Aaron and Gamma's sort of budding friendship?
Yeah, Aaron and Gamma are in a really kind of funny place right now because, we said it a little bit earlier, it appears that every morning they both meet up at this in-between spot on the border, and they both ask each other a bunch of questions to kind of get information. It's really funny to see Aaron go back into his recruitment mode. It's so strange to think back to those days when this was in a J. Crew windbreaker and just kind of having a day out in his ATV, and now he's missing an arm. He's got a mace hand, and he's
the pictures of presidents that you see at the beginning of their term, and then if they go double terms, you see the picture after, and just noticeably how much they age.
Yeah. So he is just he's a haggard in his kind of quasi Rick Grimes cosplay, and so he's meeting with Gamma. She's plying for information, but kind of terribly. He's giving her all of the best parts of the community. So every morning, apparently, he's showing up with fresh bread. And I think the fun thing of this that I want to talk about just really briefly, I understand that bread is a taste of the past, and that with their current capabilities, the Whisperers cannot create bread. But they both, Gary and Gamma, lose their fucking shit when they eat bread. We have found the secret weakness of the Whisperers, and it is bread.
You need bread with those barbecue sandwiches.
If Oprah was part of the survivors, she would have this thing wrapped up in 3 days, because it's just, we eat bread every day.
Sidebar, Oprah is definitely surviving the apocalypse.
Oprah's on an island somewhere in the middle of the Pacific just having a great time.
Probably unaware this even happened. The apocalypse even happens. Like, God, I haven't heard from Gail in a while. But I think it's funny that, like, you know, Gamma's supposed to go there and play nice and get information from Aaron, but obviously she's cracking at the seams. She's not as dangerous as I thought she was. I thought she'd be like, you know, you can definitely like see bits of her like pre-apocalypse coming out, and you know, she's trying to be all tough with Aaron, like, oh, you have a daughter, whatever. Hey, is that bread? Is that fresh? That's bread from yesterday, right? Today's bread. It's today's bread. You have today's bread.
Shut the fuck up. Yeah. You have fresh bread every day like a bread asshole. Gamma at this point, to me, and I said this while we were watching it, she's giving very heavy Nebula vibes.
Oh, yes.
So, like, and it kind of makes sense. Like, she has a weird family dynamic. She's part of this, like, very involved death cult that has a very strong leader that she'll do anything for and sees as this, like, father-parent figure. But she has these little tastes of what this other world is like, and she's not necessarily against that. Like when she Aaron takes out a picture that his daughter drew, gives it to her, and it's almost like the paper football scene with her and Tony Stark in Endgame.
Also, in the Whisperer camp, they called walkers guardians, so seems like it's all right.
Takes place in the same universe. I'm just saying.
I always kind of like the Whisperers do that. It's sort of their dogma is crazy, but it's so interesting and weird. And every time I look at that, I'm like, how the fuck did you get to this point?
That reminds me, there's a hilarious moment where you can tell it's kind of working on Gamma. When Aaron's talking to her, and she's like, I forget exactly what it is, or he says something that kind of like sets her off about her sister.
Yeah,
and she just like stomps off and begins like muttering to herself the Whisperer Creed.
He's like, we are the end of the world.
I feel nothing. I am empty. I walk away. I am the death. I am the Omega. Like,
that was so great.
She's like, I feel like she looks the least whispery of all of them. Like Alpha has that sort of like kind of army, almost camouflage vibe to her with her tank top and her knife and her pants, and literally Gamma looks like she walked out of a mall and put on a Whisperer mask on a lot of the time to
Absolutely.
me, which it just makes her even more delightful.
She spends a lot of time out of the mask in the episode.
Yeah.
Well, Thora Birch, you know, you don't just hire her to just be a face in a mask. You know, you got to take that mask off. It's probably in the contract.
The moneymaker's got to be out there. Absolutely.
I was in Hocus Pocus.
And so she, by the end of that, and I was under the understanding that, like, every morning, like, they just kind of bump into each other, like, oh, you're here. Why are you gutting walkers in the middle of the river? I don't know. Why? Do you have bread? And they just continue on their discussions like that. But at the end of the episode, Aaron and Gamma are right there in the middle of the night just kind of staring at each other. And I can't tell if, like, their shifts just, like, came together or if, like, Carol sent him out, because right on the heels of him and Gamma speaking, and Gamma goes from 0 to 60 because Alpha's told her to, like, do a better job. She holds Aaron at knife point. Carol shows up with Lydia, and then Gamma sees Lydia. And I was under the, like, when Carol had the whole plan of, like, I'm going to show Lydia to Gary, and that's going to bring the whole thing down, I was like, it's kind of like trying to argue globe Earth with a flat earther. Like, he has died in the wool.
Yeah.
You could show him Lydia and a birth certificate, and he'd be like, nah, fake news. But Gamma sees Lydia, and she's already kind of on the outside, starting to understand that the civilizations are
She's
different.
already questioning, and I think she has enough guilt to carry over her sister that she can only repress that for so long before.
Yeah. And then she gets this hardcore evidence that Alpha is two-faced and hypocritical, and now she is in this, like, dark midnight of the soul type thing, and it'll be really interesting to see if Gamma now becomes that person who we thought would be the wedge in the Whisperers now that she's got this information.
It is very dangerous information that Gamma has, and we'll see what she chooses to do with it. All right, so now on to the main event. We have Siddiq. Siddiq, this is, unfortunately, spoiler alert, kind of already said it, his last episode, unless he shows up in a flashback, which
Why,
he probably
did he
will. Woody, hate to break it to you, Siddiq is dead.
What?
I know.
What?
First Jesus, now Siddiq.
But he's the only good doctor left.
So let me...
He's the only doctor left.
Sponsored by The Good Doctor. Is that a show?
It still is, yes.
Nice. So, Siddiq, all season we have seen the aftermath of the Whisperer Pike scene, which he was forced to watch. He was stuck in a barn on his knees forced Clockwork Orange style to watch his friends get beheaded. It was very brutal. He couldn't even look away, close his eyes. Literally, his eyelids were being kept open. Very brutal, hilarious stuff. So Siddiq is trying to fall asleep. He has crazy insomnia. Last time he went to sleep, he woke up and he's holding his baby outside in front of a windmill. Not great, Michael Jackson style. And Cheryl, who's dying, is like, hey, maybe you should get some sleep. You look worse than I do. And he's like, LOL, my sleep is nightmares, and every time I close my eyes, I see my friends getting beheaded, so...
Maybe enough suggestions from you, Cheryl.
Yeah.
Also, R.I.P. Cheryl.
R.I.P. Cheryl. So
Big F in the chat for Cheryl.
So Cheryl died. Everyone in the infirmary is not looking too good, including Rosita. So anyway, Siddiq does, he experiences more flashbacks, and Cheryl dies, and he just can't take it, so he just goes for a little swim, jumps right into the little Alexandria pool. Rosita saves him, of all people. She just happens to be standing by, and they have a nice heart-to-heart. I feel like sometimes people get mad that people don't get closure before they die off the show, and I feel like Siddiq had his moment with Rosita. He didn't have his moment with everyone, but...
I would say, Rosita's the only one who has the most, at this point in Siddiq's life, all of his friends are dead. He saw them die. The only person who really has a connection to Siddiq is Rosita. So I think that it wouldn't make sense to go to any of the other characters. I thought that was a good kind of signing off point.
It's true, and it surprised me how much he talked about Enid. I'd forgotten that they were both kind of doctor pals together, and he really brought it up. He's like, Rosita, I really miss her, and maybe I'm stupid. She's like, you're not stupid. Rosita was really there for him.
He also mentioned he kept seeing Edith's hair, and we kept seeing that when he was flashing back to this moment, because it wasn't all over the place this episode. He seemed to really, really find a focal point, and it was the beheadings, and we kind of get more detail on it. Makes sense since it was his last episode that we would get some clarity. And specifically, he mentions, I feel like he also, did he not mention Edith's hair at some point? Because Enid. Yeah, I know. Oh. Enid's hair. At some point, in that conversation with Rosita, and you keep seeing her head go over and this long dark hair. So it just made that I haven't I've gotten a little exhausted of the flashbacks just because they've been kind of the same thing.
Agreed.
And it's sort of I want the solution to this, what's going on. And that image repeating and him saying her name really made this emotionally resonant for me in a way that was great for his final episode.
Well, solution found on the PTSD, because a few scenes later that night, Siddiq first, he discovers that, hey, the water's not right. And
did he tell anybody?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Why didn't Aaron tell anybody? He saw Gamma just splitting open a walker in the water. I guess he just didn't put two and two together. But hey, Aaron, maybe a little heads up next time. Maybe there's a reason why everyone's getting sick.
It's not Aaron's job to put two and two together of that into beaver fever through the entire Alexandria. He's got hand things to worry about.
Aaron's a politician. He's not a doctor.
Yeah,
I guess you're right. So anyway, that night, Siddiq finally puts it all together after Dante does this weird clicking noise, which he just started doing this episode. Yep.
Did we get that in any previous episodes? Does he do that as a nervous tick or anything? Because I was really hard-pressed to remember any moment earlier in the season when he would do that.
I want to know if we got during Siddiq's flashbacks droplets of water, because at first, and I think that this was maybe on purpose, when he's remembering earlier in this episode, he hears a single one and it echoes, and I thought it was a drop of water.
Oh yeah,
so I'm wondering if through those if we went back and watched in those flashbacks, we would hear the odd drop of water, and then that was the clicking.
That's a good call, Alexander. I think that we'd have to go back and God, if only we could have done research before this episode.
No, that's not what this podcast is about.
You're right. We're just messy opinions.
Playing fast and loose.
So anyway, Siddiq unfortunately figures out that Dante is the whisperer that was holding his eyes open during the thing. He's a whisperer. He's infiltrated their community, and he looks towards his hatchet, and before he can grab it, Dante tackles him and chokes him out and kills him, which is very sad.
Very unexpected, too.
Very unexpected, and I don't want... there's always a big death around this time in the season. Season 8, it was Carl. Season 9, it was Jesus. Sorry, Woody. And now it's Siddiq.
I have a shot take on Siddiq. Just this was the right point to sign him off. I think Siddiq's purpose at this point in the story was kind of just to go crazy, and it didn't seem like there was anything left for them to do with Siddiq and like I guess reveal a little bit of the mystery, but it seemed like the right time to get rid of him.
So earlier this week, I have obviously not been able to discuss it on social media because I don't want to spoil anyone who hasn't seen. But the rumor of Siddiq's death and Dante being a whisper was leaked earlier this week, and it's been a nightmare as a social media manager having to sort of dig around that. But I have seen the fan responses before the episode, so that's new for this podcast. And from what I've seen, a lot of people are obviously upset that Siddiq is gone, even though wasn't, keep that same energy. I wasn't hearing you guys sing his praises when he was alive, but that's okay. Come at me. It's fine. And most people, I think, were just upset that, Carl died to save Siddiq. Like, he got bit while saving Siddiq. So a lot of people think that since Siddiq had to live so Carl can die, now that Siddiq's dead, Carl's death is meaningless. But I disagree with that. I think that one of Siddiq's main points was, first of all, not just being a doctor, but to teach people that his mercy prevails over his wrath. And that's something that Rick repeated to himself. That's actually the tenet that Rick learned from Siddiq that caused Rick to save Negan. Because he slit his throat and almost killed him. And then he's like, my mercy over my wrath. Or something like that.
That's a pretty good Rick.
Thanks. And then he saves Negan. And so I think this mercy over the wrath thing might come up again. But, I just don't think that Siddiq only lived just to, have Carl die. I think he did serve a purpose. So what do we think happens next? Because, okay, so we have, what is it, a wolf in a hen house?
We've got a Dante in a bread house.
We got a.
How is he like?
We got a fox in a swimming pool. I guarantee fans are going to use that gif of Donald Glover from Community walking into that pizza party, and then everything's on fire, and it's going to be like Rosita or Gabe, or just be like, "I left you alone for 2 seconds." So Dante is in Alexandria. And when this happens, and it is at night, people are asleep. I know what happens, but what do you guys think happens? Like, do you think he makes a run for it? Does he stay and fight? What happens?
I think Dante's going to announce that he found Siddiq, and Oma and just start screaming and act like he's the one who found him.
He choked himself out.
Ooh.
But anyway, it looks like we are kind of on the brink of war now. I mean, we've seen losses on both sides. Alpha's definitely going to notice that Gary is gone, and probably going to somehow find out that he is dead. I'm sure Dante might have already relayed the news. We'll see.
It's not like Alpha's like not excited to go to war too. She's been actively provoking them, and now they've just given her a great excuse.
Chomping at the bit.
Alpha could not be having a better few weeks.
Yeah, she's crushing it. Every strategy is like everybody in Alexandria is more or less sick. The Hilltop people or the Kingtop people are dealing with that fallen tree. And also like theft from inside. So like she's pitching a perfect. She has a huge lead, and that's not even talking about the horde that's somewhere out there.
And she's got a new boyfriend.
It's going great, and I would argue a new girlfriend or daughter through Gamma. So she is, for Alpha to blow this lead, which we know that she does in the comics. It will be. I can't wait to see what the survivors have to do to turn this tide.
Well, I'm a Cavs fan, so I know all about overcoming a 3-1 lead. So hopefully that can play out too. Hopefully she can LeBron block this whole thing, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, just like pin it against the backboard.
Kyrie hits that 3. All right, so now we're going to go on to our next segment called Dunked On.
Ooh, Dunked On! That was a perfect segue.
All right, so this Dunked On is actually going to be for 1 week called Choked On. Both of you were very against that, but I'm going with it. Full steam ahead.
It's the Johnny Show.
I have tied them up. So, Choked On. I don't know much about being choked out. I've never been murdered before. That might come as a surprise.
You do the killing. You don't get killed.
Yeah, many have tried, but...
You are the one who knocks.
I am the one who knocks. Anyway, when Siddiq is getting choked out, he's like, flailing his arms, kind of like putting his hands on Dante's face. Obviously, he's, coming, getting attacked from behind. So it's pretty difficult. But I would imagine if I was in that situation and I'm like, I'm about to get killed, I would be trying to claw eyes out. I'd be trying to rip ears off. I'd be like biting arms. I'd be pinching. Pinching really hurts, even the toughest guys. Pinching is really annoying.
So I just want to make sure that I get this straight.
Yeah.
Your strategy, if you are getting choked by a guy who you thought was your friend and is now your captor, your strategy would be to give this guy pinchies?
I would give him pinchies, and then I would also say that I thought the last season of Game of Thrones was its best yet, because I think he'd be so shocked by that he would let me go for just a second, just loosen his grip, just so he could like try to process that insane information, and then I would get the upper hand. But I mean, I know Dante is, a lot bigger than Siddiq, so probably Siddiq dies, even if he does try to claw his eyes out.
Oh,
But
she even just said, like, Cheryl thinks you're a douche.
well, he'd be like, well, Cheryl's dead.
Yeah, but still, that would be just a really good one to just kind of, get into his noodle. Because he can never make things right with Cheryl then.
Yeah. And, like, I feel like it wouldn't land immediately. It'd be like, a couple of, wait a minute.
You're at Siddiq's funeral, and, like, Dante just has huh.
I also like the eye thing really got me because I think you mentioned when we were watching that he had basically full range of movement on his arms, and he clearly was trying to go for Dante's face, and I was just like, just one, come on, just one, just like, dude, put a finger in his mouth. That's gross.
I live for everyone who looks at like those choking scenes and has a moment of like, well, just poke his eyes out.
Yeah.
Look, we got a lot of brave people in the booth today, and I think a lot too much about what I would have to do if I was getting choked out. And the problem is I would scramble and think about all the things that I had seen from movies for about 30 seconds as my world starts to slowly go black. And then I would realize this guy's just as dedicated to ending my life as I am to get him to release his grip. Oh my God, it's not working out. Now it's a minute in. Now I've lost all oxygen to my brain. Now I'm thrashing around and I'm panicking because the fight or flight instinct takes over. And now I'm not making any sort of informed decisions. And then I'm dead. And I feel like that happens that would be what would happen in real life. Unless we've got some real training in us. And as we established, Johnny kills people now. So he probably knows how to like step on the instep and then like squeeze out. But
if there's anybody you should worry about in terms of like it's social media managers. Shoot, I would not want to cross somebody who is listening to like all of the internet's vitriol and negativity all day long.
Yeah, there's a darkness.
I absorb it. I channel it. I use it. Now, on to our guest. Our guest of the week. I'm really excited about this one. If you guys are fans of Skybound, as I know you are, you've probably seen our React compilations where every week we take the best reactions to The Walking Dead or Fear the Walking Dead or whatever it may be, and we compile them all together in some sort of narrative form to make it as funny as possible and give sort of like the real life representation of how people felt about a certain episode. One of our best and favorite, we don't want to pick favorites, but let's be honest. One of our favorites is Kate O'Shaughnessy. She is from Ireland. She is amazing.
She makes me laugh all the time.
She's so funny. A lot of the cast recognizes her. She's seen them at a lot of conventions, and we're going to talk to her right now. So here is that interview. All right, our special guest this week has a huge following on YouTube. You probably know her from React videos, celebrity interviews, or her rapid-fire wit on Twitter. Also, she's our first international guest. That's right, this week we have Kate O'Shaughnessy. Kate, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for that fancy intro. Oh, I feel so special.
Well, you deserve it. You are very well known in the Walking Dead fandom, whether you like it or not. You are, I feel like, one of the staples of it. So, yeah, so Kate, a lot of people know you from your React videos, like I said, from Twitter, but let's get to know you just a little bit better. So obviously, you live in Ireland. I think most people can assume that. But where did you grow up?
Born and raised in Limerick, which is the southwest of Ireland.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's not a very well-known place. I wouldn't blame you. I could just hear the silence. Yeah.
No, not silence. No, I just don't know Limerick. But please paint us a picture. What is Limerick like?
Oh, trust me. I don't think you want me painting a picture. I'm not the biggest fan of this place.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's nice. Like, it's just small.
Gotcha. What's your go-to coffee drink, or do you drink coffee?
Funnily enough, I don't. I think I have energy to burn, and I think if I drank coffee, I'd end up like destroying the house with just absolute chaotic energy. But I do like tea. I like green tea.
Okay.
Yeah.
How European. What did so you said you were a little bit late to The Walking Dead. When did you start watching?
I think it was like mid-season 5 was airing.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if the mid-season. Oh no, I think it did. I think you were on a break. Season 5 was the first half had just ended, and like that, I was dead set against zombies and all of that. It used to freak me out as a kid. I just didn't like them, and my dad got crazy into the show, And he always used to say to me, "You love horror, you'd love this." And eventually I gave in, and the rest is history. I became obsessed.
It's amazing. Who was your favorite character early on?
Oh, early on, uh, it kind of differed. I was constantly flitting between Daryl and Carol. I
Hmm.
just, I don't know. I feel like they're the two that people can just gravitate towards because they're so relatable in the things they've been through, and they have such different backgrounds that I feel like a lot of people can connect to certain aspects of them. But yeah, Daryl, Daryl.
Yeah, I remember the days where he was getting tortured by Negan, and I remember your React videos. You were not very happy
Oh
about it.
God, no! Let's not bring that up. The whole video was just me screaming, "Where's Daryl?"
Where do you, the fans have a lot of opinions on the Carol Daryl relationship. They want them to be a couple very badly. Where do you land on that?
Mm. See, that's a funny one with me because in the beginning, I could totally see why. Like in the beginning, I was even leaning towards that up until about, I want to say season 5 or 6, maybe. I was like, okay, I could see them getting together because they are quite similar. And I mean, if they're going to date anyone, it probably would be the other. But I
Right.
feel like now that we're 10 seasons in, it would be the most slow burn romance, I guess. And I don't want to step on anyone's toes because I know a lot of people really want them to get together. But since Connie was introduced, I'm kind of like, I really like the idea of them.
Shipping the Donnie ship.
Yeah, I am. And like, that was a real kind of slow burn on me. I feel like a
Hmm.
lot of people kind of jumped on board, and I was like, I don't know, I think we need to see more. And then I think it was episode 4 or 5 of this season. I think I was just like, oh my god, yes, yeah, they need to get together. That's it. I am on this ship till the end.
I'm kind of on the same board. But we'll get back to Walking Dead in a second. So how did you get
Hmm.
started with your YouTube page?
I don't know. I just saw that there was this massive community online, and you could just talk to people about stuff you were obsessed with. And I was like, hell yeah, I want in on this.
How do your family and friends react to what you do online?
Oh, that's a good question. I didn't tell my family until I think I was at around 1,000, I think, subscribers, because to me it was just, oh, it was whatever. But then when it probably started kind of gaining momentum, I remember telling my parents, I was like, hey, I'm doing this cool thing online. And they were just fascinated by the idea of like reaction videos and of being part of a fandom and, growing it or whatever, growing your own little corner.
Right.
My nana, bless her, she's like a second mother to me. She hasn't a clue. She just kind of will ask every now and again and be like, "That's nice, honey." Anyway, um,
Aw.
yeah, she bless her. She tries, but she hasn't a clue. My mom actually came to a couple of conventions with me, and that's where things really got wild. Because when you do things online, as much as you love it and you're in it, it still feels very distant.
Right.
But going to like cons and meeting viewers and stuff, and my mom was with me. I remember there was one point, I think it was this year, she just kind of turned to me and was like, "Oh my God, like, what is this?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, yeah, I've been telling you."
And
So,
one of
like,
your oh, go ahead. Sorry.
oh no, go on. I was just going to say it's been crazy.
Yeah. Speaking of conventions, usually when you will go to a convention, you'll make a video sort of recap about it. And
Yeah.
I want you to tell the listeners about this time that you met Norman Reedus and you kind of freaked out because of something he said to you, a positive thing.
Oh.
Um,
Yeah, Norman. He's such a lovely man. Oh my God. Um, I think that's going back 2 years now, I think.
oh, is it 2 years? Okay.
Yeah, it's gone back a while, but I was super nervous. I'd already met him, but he's the type of person you just get nervous anyway. And he's lovely, but it's still, it's Norman
Right.
Reedus.
Yeah.
But he had recognized me from the Skybound compilations.
That's crazy.
And dude, you can't prepare a person for that. He just turned and was like, "Yeah, I know you. You're in the videos." I swear to God, I felt my whole stomach just hit the floor. I was like, "Ah, okay, yeah, that's me." Forgot how to talk kind of moment. When I met Jeffrey, he knew me by name. I swear to God, I nearly
Wow.
blacked out on the floor.
My God.
But he said the same thing. He said that Norman had been linking the compilations to people.
Oh,
And
that's cool.
I was like, that's crazy. And he was
Yeah.
just saying that, they love seeing the fans freak out, seeing what they pick up on, what they don't, what they love, what they maybe don't like. But yeah, that was a terrifying, terrifying moment for shy little old me. I didn't know what to do or where
Aw.
to look. So thank you for
I
bringing that up.
I really love. I really enjoyed your interviews with some of the Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead cast. What inspired you to sort of start interviewing them on your channel?
Oh, thank you so much. I'm delighted that you like them. Um, I mean, I like it's kind of funny because I'm a people person, but I'm really shy at the same time. But when I like somebody, I really want to get to know them, like
Yeah.
proper know them. And the cast just fascinate me because, I love the show, I love their characters, but the cast as people, I'm just like, I want to know you. And it all started like, I think it's 2 years ago now with Carrie. Now,
Right.
I had met him already and I cried like a little bitch, I'm not even gonna lie. He knows we were cool about it. I cried and walked away and he was like, okay, bye. But you'd think he was following me on Twitter, so I just kind of shot him a message and was like, hey, would you be down? And he was. And that was the first. And that night with the Carrie interview, oh my God, I have never felt nerves ever like that day. So, like, I'm talking hands shaking, couldn't do my eyeliner, nervous.
I'm pretty
So,
sure. I'm pretty sure you opened the video with you were you leaned into the camera and you're like, I'm nervous as fuck, and
oh
then
my God, yeah.
which was so funny because it really it definitely lets the audience sort of give you a break because it's like, all right, we know you're nervous, but we also are confident in you to nail the interview, and you did nail the interview and you seemed really professional, even pre-interview where you're being okay, we're gonna do this, that, and the other, okay, ready, all right, go.
Oh.
And yeah, no, I mean, you seemed like a pro.
Oh no, thank you so much, man. See, that's like the clean version where I'm like, oh my God, I'm so fucking nervous. What you guys didn't see, no word of a lie. Carrie doesn't even know this. I was so nervous I had to drink vodka to calm down before that interview. I don't drink
Yeah.
alcohol ever. I was down in vodka, like I can do this. I can get through it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know, right? And he's a lovely guy. And I've
Yeah.
met him since then and we've talked and I'm chill now, but my God, back then was crazy.
Yeah, and I think I've seen, I don't think I'm making this up, you've received gifts from fans, right? I think you've even,
Yeah,
right? You've done
yeah.
unboxing, right?
My God, you remember everything.
I mean, I just do my research into my guests. I mean, what can I say?
Dude, I'd even forgotten about that. Yeah, I had a P.O. box, I think a year or two ago. Because at the time, my channel was still quite small, smaller than it was. And I think it was around Christmas time. And somebody came up with the idea of postcards or, kind of festive things like that. And I was like, yeah, that'll be cool. Send me a card or whatever. Your address, we can do postcards. And then people just started sending gifts and crazy things. And I remember sitting on my floor. People sent gorgeous gifts, handmade things. But one lady, this is going to sound really funny. One lady sent 2 magazines, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they were special edition. And on one cover was Josh Dunn. And on the other was Tyler Joseph from 21 Pilots. And you could not get these magazines in Ireland. And I just cried. I sat on the floor and was like, oh my God, they know me.
That's so cute.
It was crazy. And it was so kind. I don't think I've ever experienced anything in my life like that. It was overwhelming.
Sounds overwhelming.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're very well appreciated online, and I think you've always remained pretty positive. It seems like, from my experience, from what I've seen, being on YouTube has a lot of highs, but it seems like it also has a lot of lows, whether it's demonetization or it seems like a lot of people sort of go through any kind of some form of mental health struggles sometimes. I mean, because it is based on, attention and likes and subscribers and stuff like that. Does any of that get you down, or are you able to overcome it? Because like I said, you do seem overwhelmingly positive when we see you make a video.
I mean, with things it sounds kind of dumb to say, oh, I don't care about views, because if you have a channel, like you do, everybody cares.
Right.
But like things like that, they're not my focal point. Like views or subscribers. Now, don't get me wrong. Seeing the numbers go up it's exciting and it's incredible, and it's something to really make you feel proud of, because it's like, whoa, like I started this from nothing, and now like look at it go. My baby's growing up.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure. Like I suffer with really, really bad anxiety,
Hmm.
and it's strange because like most of the time I don't even think about it. Like posting a video, I'm just like, yeah, post it, up you go. But sometimes for no given reason, I'll just feel nervous about posting a video, and there's no reason, because it's the same old thing I do every week. And sometimes it'll kind of hit, and it's it's like the weight of knowing that what you're putting out into the world, it's gonna be received by someone. It's gonna be seen by someone. So that
Yeah.
does come into play. In regards to like comments and stuff, I'm lucky that I do have such lovely, lovely people who are so just bouncy and happy in the comments. And dude, some of them are so smart. They leave comments, and I'm looking at it going, "Do you write for the show? Like, what the fuck is going on?"
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But you do get the odd comment that's like, "Oh my god, you're obsessed," or "Stop
Oh,
swearing,"
yeah.
or "You talk too much," and I'm like, "Well, no
You talk
shit,
too much.
Sherlock, you're on
It's a
YouTube."
YouTube channel.
Yeah, like what? Do
Why
you
don't
want
you
me to
just
sit
sit there
silently?
silently? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to run by some Irish slang by you that I found online.
Oh,
It's possible none of them are right. I have no idea, but I was wondering if I could maybe say a few of these quote unquote words, and you could just explain what they are.
oh
And then
god, this is
maybe
gonna be good.
give us some suggestions of ones that we should know in case if me or any of the listeners ever travel to Ireland, will know what to say. Okay,
Alrighty.
so the first one I saw was bags, but not referring to like luggage. It just bags. So
Oh,
what could
bags.
bags?
Where I'm from, if somebody's like a bag, it generally means that they're how do I put this
It,
delicately?
oh no.
Unsightly or not nice to look at. Like if someone's
uh,
an old bag, it's like a hag,
oh yeah.
basically.
Okay, that makes sense. Then. All right. Culchies.
Oh, a
Am I saying that right?
culchi. Ah,
Oh,
yes. A culchi is. God, you really dove deep with these, didn't you?
I tried.
A culchi is basically someone that's from the country, and like their life is being on the bog and taking care of the animals and going
Being
to the
on the
ploughing
bog.
on the bog. Yeah, you don't know
On the
what a
bog.
bog
Is that
is?
bog like BOG? Oh, like bog,
Yeah,
like a swamp?
yeah, like boglands.
Boglands. Okay, got it.
Yeah, it's like a culture is like they live out the country and they're all about the animals and going to the GAA matches. That's like a type of sport here. It's really popular. I never liked it, but don't let them hear me say that in Ireland because I'll be kicked out.
uh, banjaxed. I don't know if I'm saying
Oh,
that right.
banjaxed. Yeah. That can be used in like a lot of ways, but generally that just means something's absolutely like fucked. It's broken. So like if your car is like missing all of its wheels and there's no engine and the seats are like on fire, the car's banjaxed.
That's great. I really like that.
That's a
I
fun
think
word.
slagging.
That means you're taking the absolute piss out of someone. So if
Oh,
you're
really?
laying into someone, yeah, if you're making fun of them, you're slagging them.
Gotcha. Gobda or
Gobda.
gob. It was gobda / gobshite.
Oh,
So,
gobshite. Yeah.
oh, gobshite. Yeah.
Yeah, gobshite means you're an absolute idiot. You're
Oh, great.
I'm using one Irish word to explain another. That mustn't make a lot of sense to you. Do you guys use the word Egypt over there?
Idiot.
No, Egypt.
Egypt. How do you spell it?
EJIT, I think.
Oh no, Egypt. No,
No.
no. What is
Ah,
that?
well, yeah, it means like idiot.
Oh, I
But
was well. There you go. Okay.
they're not the same though.
Uh,
They're different words. But yeah.
okay. Give me a slang or two that I'm missing that we'll need to know if we like go to Ireland.
Um, one that everybody uses here is the word gowl.
Gowl.
Yeah, GOWL.
Okay, what does that mean?
It just like means idiot, but people use it all. No,
Do you guys
that
have like
sounds
100 different words for how many idiots are in Ireland?
that sounds like it was like segued in. I swear it wasn't. It just like everybody uses it, no matter what age you are. If you're a
Oh my
fucking
God.
gowl, it means like go away, you absolute dumbass. But it's the
Wow.
more Irish version, yeah.
I like how a lot of your idiots are like based on like location. Like you have like the swamp idiots, you know, the mall idiot. It's like Forrest Gump with like the different kinds of shrimp. It's like we got fried idiots, grilled
Oh my
idiots,
god. No, the
um,
bog idiots. The bog.
the
Not
bog
swamp.
idiots. Yeah,
A bog.
yeah, bog. Okay, got it. Okay, well that concludes our slang lesson.
Oh my god.
Um, all right, just some quick rapid fire things. I know we're going long. I appreciate it. Let me know if you
Ah,
need
you're
to go or
grand.
anything.
No,
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. Everyone wants to know, what is your favorite curse word?
Ooh. The one I use most would just be like fuck. You
Yeah.
can, you can fucking put the word fuck into any fucking place in a fucking sentence and it just goes.
But what is your favorite Irish dish?
Ooh. Oh, that's easy. Stew. But it has to be
Stew?
homemade. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Um, what's your favorite American city? I don't know how many you've been to, but I think you've been to a few, right?
Uh, I know it's so stereotypical, but I
It's
have to
okay.
say New York. Oh
Of
my
course.
God.
It's great, right?
I mean, I know the people that like live in or around it are like so done with it, but
Yep.
man, that place is just magical.
Very
Like,
expensive,
yeah. I mean,
but is it magical?
I haven't been in like 7 years or something, but when I was
Hmm.
younger, every Christmas my parents would take me because my uncle like used to live just on the outskirts. Um, every year we'd go over, we'd visit, and I think that's why I love it so much because I associate it with like Christmas and snow and magical, not like
Yeah.
the kind of shittier sides that everyone else would see. But
Yeah, exactly. But if
yeah,
you see Home Alone 2, you're already in love with New York, probably.
yes, it's so funny that you bring that up. The first time we went, that was what we watched. We had
Yes.
Home Alone 2 on the telly in our hotel room. And I remember my dad saying, hey, you see that place? You see that place? We can go there tomorrow. We can go to that place. And I was like, what? Really?
Uh,
But yeah,
gotta love the
possibly.
enthusiasm of a dad.
Oh, God, for sure. Yeah.
Um, all right. If you had to bring back any Walking Dead character, who would you bring back? But the caveat is, if you had to bring them back, you have to take someone who's currently in the cast, preferably a main character, away. So who would you
Oh,
swap? I know it's tough.
I love the total lack of remorse in your voice. You're just like, yeah, I know. That's an
Yeah.
evil question. Um, See, no matter what I say, if I remove a character, there's gonna be people mad, like, no, they need to be in the show. This is why.
Let's stir
Um,
the pot.
I know, and I feel like with everyone that died or left, like it kind of affected, like the domino effect or the butterfly effect. It like affected run-on storylines. I would say I would bring back Coral
Mm-hmm.
simply because I feel like he could have done so much more, and there was still a lot of his story that he could have played out and showed us. But I don't want to
I
take
agree.
anyone out, so could I just take out like background character number 4?
No, no, no.
Shit.
You gotta think. There's
Um,
Eugene. There's Rosita. There's Daryl, Carol. There's
don't even go there. How dare you?
I'm
Blasphemous.
just kidding.
Bringing up Darren and Carol. How dare you? Um,
Gamma. All right. It's okay. If you can't think of anyone, I'll let you off
yeah.
the hook. We'll just eliminate the rest of Hilltop, the unnamed members of Hilltop.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Um all right. So this will air after 10:07, which you haven't seen, so we won't talk
Mm-hmm.
about that. But
Mm-hmm.
there's no Negan in 10:07, which is fine. So
Uh,
what do you think is next for Negan in The Walking Dead? He's infiltrated the Whisperer camp. Seems like he's gotten Alpha on his side. Do you think it'll follow the comics, or do you think he's up to something else?
um, would you like straight off the bat? No pun intended, but haha, that kind of went. I don't read the comics. I did up to a point and then I
That's okay.
stopped. I know you're gonna have everyone in the comments like, wow, just cancel her.
Wow.
She doesn't read the comics, she doesn't appreciate art. And I'm like, I know. I'm sorry. But like regarding Negan, I feel like he's the type of guy who I know we have the whole redemption arc and we have the fact that, he helped Aaron and Lydia and he has been changing somewhat. I feel like there's still the ego in him where he, in his head, is like the Mr. Bad Guy or the smartest person in the room. So whatever he's
Mhm.
doing with Alpha, yeah, it's a play, but I just, I think being around Alpha is bad for him because like that, he's saying how people used to kneel for me and, I had people following me. I think being
Yep.
around that for him, it could make him go back a small bit. It could push him back a little bit in his progression, and I'm hoping it doesn't. I'm hoping that he doesn't get like the feel to be, Negan now that he has the jacket and he has what are we calling her? Is it Two Seal?
To Seal, that's so funny. Yes, that's great.
So yeah,
Yes, to Seal for sure.
I don't know. I hope he keeps going forward instead of taking steps back because oh man, I've been loving him so far. I feel like his character arc and the growth, and I think it's like a really controversial thing to say because like I get it, like he has done some dark shit, and there's a lot of people that still don't forgive him for that, and that's totally understandable. But like I feel like me at least, I can separate that from a really strongly written character and a really interesting storyline, So I don't know. I've just enjoyed watching him, and as long as he's on screen doing his thing, especially now that he's back in the old Negan kind of ways, I'm just excited.
Um, but that concludes our interview with Kate O'Shaughnessy. Thank you so much, Kate, for talking with us. I appreciate it.
Thank
Please
you
tell the
so much.
people.
Thank you
Oh
so much
yeah,
for having me, dude. This is awesome. It was a lot of fun.
duh. Of course. Please tell the people where they can watch you, subscribe, maybe join your Patreon.
Yeah. My name is just Kate O'Shaughnessy. It's that on YouTube. On Twitter, it's just Katie Shocks, and on Patreon, it's Kate O'Shaughnessy as well. And everything is linked usually on my Twitter. So, yeah.
And for those still unsold, remember, she is Norman Reedus approved, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan approved, and Andrew Lincoln approved. So all of your favorite people approve of her, and you should approve of her too. So
I'm glad there's
thank
no
you,
face
Katie.
cam because I have gone tomato red in the face.
Oh, tomato. You
Tomato.
Irish.
Tomato. Tomato.
Yeah.
Why?
All right, on to our favorite segment, voicemails.
Yes.
Every week, we ask you guys on Twitter and other platforms a certain question. This week, it was, if you could bring any Walking Dead character back from the dead, who would you choose? And we have you guys call in to a special number. That special number, which was gifted to us by the Queen of England, is 213-536-1275.
Real big of her to give us a Los Angeles area code.
I know, it's weird that she just had that sitting around, but she's like, just waiting for the perfect opportunity, and you guys came along, and it was a no-brainer.
I also stole a corgi. I feel like I should say that now.
Yes, it was
Is
part
that
of a...
Sausages?
Yeah. I named him
Okay.
Carl Jr.
Oh, like the burger.
Yeah, and his brother Hardee's.
All right, we're going to find out which characters you guys wanted to bring back from the dead from The Walking Dead. Let's do this. All right, first up, Brenda.
This is Brenda from Las Vegas. If I could bring any character back from the dead on TWD, it would be Beth Green. Okay, hear me out. She was kind of a two-dimensional, boring, kind of annoying character at first, and then season 4, she got some development. Her and Daryl getting together, sharing things about each other, just kind of growing and developing, and then her going off on her own at Grady, surviving, finding strength in herself, basically saving Carol. I think we really, really got cheated out of a really cool dynamic that could have been explored if she had come back and joined the group, not only between her and Daryl, but between her and Rick, her and Maggie, her and Carol. I think it would have been really fascinating to see how she fit into the dynamic of the group after everything she'd been through and how much she changed. So thanks, guys. Love your podcast. Can't wait to listen next Sunday.
Thank you, Brenda. That was so nice.
What a well-considered point by Brenda, and I appreciate that she got all of the cons out of the way at the beginning, being like, here's all the reasons. Now, anything that has to start with "no, hear me out" is already fantastic, and just listening, like, here's the reasons that Beth sucked, but she got better, and I think she's exactly right. Like, there was so much, Beth's journey was really interesting. The point of view that she had on the world was so different than what any of the other characters had. Like, the Beth Green story was not done. And it would have been really interesting to watch that continue.
Yeah. I think I feel similarly about Siddiq's death in the sense that I don't know. I was interested in his possibility, like maybe a little bit more so this season. And it was just Beth also had a very crappy way that she went.
Oh,
it was just like, damn, she had been so triumphant. We'd seen her blossom into this amazing character. And then I'm still angry about it.
You know, the good thing about If You Miss Beth is that you guys can actually listen to our podcast last week where we interviewed Beth herself, not Emily Kinney, but Beth. And we interviewed Beth and we asked what the afterlife was. Turns out there is one, and it is a lot different than what you might think. So go ahead and listen to that. All right, this is Kayla.
Hi, this is Kayla Allen from Jacksonville, Alabama, and I'm just going to say Carl Ramps because he died for no reason other than shock factor, and I'm still mad about it. Thank you.
All right,
full on. He died for no reason. Thank you so much.
Is she wrong? I don't think so. I think Kayla is her anger and her disappointment is just, and I think we should have had more Carl. And I miss that guy, and the fact that they replaced him with Henry didn't sit great with me. So my position on this is clear. I wish Carl was back.
All right, next up, Sammy.
Sammy from Brownsville, PA. I would choose Sophia to be brought back because I think she would be like one badass zombie killer like her mama Carol.
Ooh. I'm going to have to disagree with you, Sammy, because I think without the death of Sophia, we don't get the Carol that we have today, whom I'm very attached to. And one of the first things that really made me sort of like perk up and really like get engaged with The Walking Dead in the early seasons was the fact that they killed Sophia, which I thought was incredibly extreme and something that, you know, you see in genre television, not something you would see on like Grey's Anatomy.
All right, we have one last voicemail from Renee.
Hey, my name is Renee. I'm calling from Springfield, Mass. Character I bring back from the dead, even though he wasn't all that great as far as fighting, would be Herschel. I mean, he was the man of reason. He loved everyone, took care of everyone. And I think he probably could have talked some sense into Negan or talked some sense into Alpha.
I don't think Herschel could talk any sense in Alpha. I don't think anyone could talk sense in Alpha.
Yeah, not a reflection.
But the Herschel-Negan scenes would be very interesting. I think Negan would probably lean on a lot of ageist nicknames.
Oh my God, yes. Old Man River would come out instantly.
Yeah. Well, excuse the hell out of me, Old Man River. I didn't know life was precious. Didn't you keep those undead ghouls in your barn?
Knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. This old man came rolling home.
All right, and that wraps up our voicemail line. If you guys want to leave us a message, and we got a ton this week, apologies to anyone that we left out. Please keep calling every week. The more thoughtful and interesting, the better. So anyway, that number again is 213-536-1275.
Call it. We love it. This is my favorite segment. Every week I look forward to it.
Bar none.
All right, and that wraps up this episode of Talk Dead to Me. Alexandra, Woody, thank you guys so much for being amazing co-hosts as always. Guys, make sure to like and subscribe.
Happy birthday, Nate.
Nate, hope you're having a good one.
I'm signing off every podcast with happy birthday, Nate.
Happy birthday, Nate.